Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving break. And I'm doing this video, and I'm hoping all of you do watch this video, just because I wanted to go over a few things about this leadership course that you participated in. First thing, you should be proud and of the accomplishment of actually going through this course, because I know an online course is very different for most of you. I don't know if any of you have done online courses before. But they are unique. It requires a special type of person to be able to do online courses. Um, a lot of people don't care for them. Then a lot of us do care for them. But like I said, it does take a special type of person, because the type of people that are successful in online courses are, the independent, go-getter type people. I'll share my own experience. When I got my MBA, I got my MBA at the University of Michigan, but it was a hybrid course. It was an online course, but we went up there every 6 weeks for a weekend. And so that was a 2-year process for that MBA. But every once in a while, we would have what we call a traditional student who was a campus student, but they wanted to knock out one of the courses, and they thought, well, I'll just do it online. Come to find out, and this was from every one of them. I met about 6 of them over that 2 years. All thought online was much harder and more difficult. And I'm not telling you that to say, oh, it was difficult, but it was difficult because of the requirement of self-management and self-leadership. Um, the traditional students, that were basically used to just showing up in a classroom, sitting there, listening, and then going, you know, and there was no requirements for independent study, scheduling their own time, working with groups, which is one of the things I think all of you probably learned that there's a difficulty with, is working with each other, being able to do remote work. And the big thing is just being, having the self-discipline to do it yourself. Not everybody can do online courses, but those that can and do, you're, I put you a step above, other people. So that's kudos to you, and so forth. So just wanted to let you know about that part of it. If anybody told you, oh, don't worry about an online course, they're doing you a disservice, because online courses have the same curriculum, same criteria. The only thing is you're given the flexibility of picking when you want to work on it. You still have to put the same amount of time into it. So if you ever decide to take online courses in the future, you just remember that it is the same requirements, same curriculum. You're just given that flexibility of managing yourself instead of someone managing you. So, all right. Let me see here. Da, da, da. Oh, and I got some spiffy pictures there of you guys. But one of the things about in the course itself, we had uh, another thing, took about 6 weeks for everybody to get adjusted to doing discussions. The purpose of discussions, and it's been proven that they're very effective, is people learn from them. You learn from each other's examples, and as you found out going through the weeks, as the weeks progressed, the quality and the quantity of the discussion posts got much better. People were doing a lot of sharing, and you learn just as much, maybe more, from interacting in discussions than you do from actual readings. So that's why pretty much any online course and institution you go to, they're heavy, the discussions are heavily weighed on that. So just want to let you know, just in case there was any misunderstanding on why the discussions. The project, that's another thing I mentioned, like when I did my MBA, we did projects every course. We'd had projects, interaction with each other, people doing different parts of it, reviewing it, and then everybody agreeing on it. On the project you had to do, was a case study. And here, everything is laid out here. The order, you did have the option of doing a paper or a presentation. All of you picked the presentation, the PowerPoint. If by now you may or may not have already seen the feedback I gave you on the PowerPoint. One of the things about doing presentations, normally in a case study, you take a case. In this case, it was the BP oil spill down in the Gulf, and you study it, you analyze it, and you come up with, like in this case, these different perspectives of it and what happened. and then you do a presentation that gives the bullet points. But the thing about giving bullet points is there needs to be additional info that you are verbally going to articulate on as you're giving that presentation. So like when you do your, for those, some of you did the notes in the notes section of the presentation, some of you didn't. But when you do, you need to be addressing those bullet points and explaining them. So that's one, a little learning lesson there on how to do these presentations. Also, in each one of these areas here, it was pretty much broken down. Also, in the rubrics, it was also broken down on what's expected for each portion. And if you go through there and read that, you'll see that gives you a good snapshot of what happened on whatever the particular case you might be doing. In the future, I'm assuming you'll probably do case studies in something as you progress, but that's just a little feedback there on what's whether it be the PowerPoints or whether it be the paper portion. So all right, so what else? Dun 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 dun. The other thing about this course, it's a leadership course. It's gonna be it's a required course, and leadership, regardless of what discipline you go into in life, leadership is one of those things that's required for all disciplines. And by disciplines, I'm talking about engineering, medical, logistics, the military, whatever the case is. Leadership is a required part. So part of this course was to give you a basic snapshot and maybe a little shell shock thing about, wow, there's more into leadership than just drill and ceremonies and knowing how to give orders and take orders. There's a whole a lot that goes into it, and to the philosophy of it, the competencies, concepts, different things. So hopefully this course gave you that, and you have a little more understanding and appreciation for it. Also, about things about I got one of my little quotes here about if you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you always got. Some people take that two different ways, but it's basically, it's about change. If you keep doing the same thing, you gotta, look outside the box and do some other things. You can't just do it the way you've always done it, and that's where change comes in. How to do things different. A couple of my little war stories. One from my civilian life, the pizza world. I used to run corporate stores up in Seattle for the corporate market up there, and so doing pizza, the pizza stores. So in anything you do, though, whether it be pizza or, like say, logistics, military, there's things or procedures or tasks. One of the tasks in the pizza world, those of you who've ever done Domino's or pizza, is they got chicken wings. But when they first came out with chicken wings, and the way they did it for several years, there was a system. There was like a 7-step process. Once those wings came out of the oven, on how they put the sauce on them. Little simple thing like sauce, but the company vice president came into town one time, and one of the managers had an idea. And this particular VP, his name is Pat Kelly. He was a great guy. He was a hugger. He'd come in and he'd hug you and say how you doing and everything. He was very approachable. One of those other things about leadership, being approachable. And so the manager said, "Hey, let me show you something." So he had these wings come out of the oven. He timed it. He sat them in the box. He took his little squirt bottle and went squirt, the sauce on it. Closed the box, shook it a little bit, opened it up, and said, "Voila." The VP was like, "Wow, Now that may not sound much to you here in this little video, but in pizza land, that was a big thing. That eliminated like 4 steps in the saucing process. So it made things go faster. It also saved money because of other things that were being used. So that's just the point there on doing things different. Being a leader is you got to think outside the box. You got to look at different things. I got a Vietnam War story from a friend of mine. His name was Mike. I joined the Army in '75, so I wasn't in Vietnam, but a lot of the guys I associated were in. I spent most of my career in Special Forces. But anyway, so he was in Vietnam over there. He was operating on his own. He had his little platoon or company at the time, and they were like co-located with Marine units. But anyway, there's the whole story of the the Marine battalion that was given the mission of taking the hill, and a couple of days went by, and the Marines unfortunately weren't able to take the hill. Control, or whatever hour they did it, was transferred to another command, and given to my friend Mike. And so they sat around for a few hours, did some planning with his locals, and did what very precise artillery on that hill. And then after the artillery was done, they literally walked up the hill. They didn't charge the hill. They didn't have to. They had a high body count. Took the hill. A few days later, Mike, that battalion commander of that Marine battalion, found Mike, and congratulated him and everything. He said, if I had done that, I'd be fired. And the point there is, again, doing things different. There's culture. There's in that particular case with the Marine and the there was a certain culture in all military units. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with the culture. There's tradition, there's culture, the way you do things. Just like at Norwich, you have certain traditions there, and those are good and need to be maintained. But at the same time, as leaders, you got to look at different ways to do things. So that's just the point there, is as you move forward, you're going to see things, you need to learn from it. But at the same time, there might be other ways to do things. So, all right. So, and I showed you the quotes, right? Let me see here. That one, and I got the Einstein one here. You can't solve problems with the same thinking when you created them. So, that's another one. So, okay. But anyway, I did enjoy this class with you. I hope all of you enjoyed it. I know there was a lot of learning lessons, a lot of difficulty for some of you getting accustomed to it, but it is I hope it was worth it for you. You got some insight into leadership, into your futures, and just wish all of you good continued good luck at Norwich and on your future endeavors. And if you ever need anything, I think you all got my contact number, so if you need some someone to advice or something, or a question about something, just let me know. So with that, I'm gonna sign off here, and again, any questions, just get in touch with me. Take care, everybody. Best to you.